Fat loss always moves through 4 stages: early, mid, late, and recovery. Repeat it again and again until you reach your goal. What this means is the tactics that made you successful in month 1 are actually the exact reason you stall in month 3. If you've ever done everything right, but the scale stopped moving, or suddenly found it harder to stick to the same plan that worked before, you've been a victim of rules that changed underneath you without you knowing. In this video, I'm breaking down the only 1 to 2 things you need to do at each stage, popular advice to ignore, and the common troubleshooting problems I see among my 1,000 plus weight loss clients per stage. The first stage is the easiest and the most dangerous. Easy because I'm sure you've felt the high of comfortable fat loss the first few weeks. You may have attributed this to novelty-driven motivation. But it's not just in your head, it's biological. The early stage is the glycogen and inflammation shedding stage. You're not just losing fat, but water and glycogen, which combine to show a steady, quick drop on the scale. That's what makes this stage dangerous. You get lulled into a sense of, I can add 1 more healthy habit, or I will always continue losing weight this way. But month 2 onward, everything becomes harder. Your enthusiasm is your obstacle at this stage, and the popular advice out there doesn't help. If you're in the higher body fat range, you don't need to add any exercise if you don't enjoy it. And even if you do enjoy it, you'll want to tune it such that it doesn't cause a spike of hunger and cravings that sabotage your number 1 focus at this stage: eating in a 15% calorie deficit. You can straight up calorie track, or you can take a portioning approach where you shrink the size of your bowls and plates by 1/6. That is about 15% while keeping your servings the same. Ignore the popular advice to complicate this by tracking the macros or cutting entire food groups or carbs. In the higher body fat range, even small changes cause good results. The litmus test is you should be feeling like my client Priyanka, like she should be doing more and yet seeing results. Now, there are 2 common troubleshooting mistakes I see when interpreting the fat loss data. Carla joined our program and started dropping 1.5 pounds the first week, 1.3 pounds second week, and 3 weeks in, discontinued. Carla was thrilled, but as her coach, I was a little worried. When I broke down her weight into fat versus lean mass, as you can see here, her rapid weight loss had been more lean mass loss than fat loss. So we increased her calories slightly, about 150 per day. Her fat loss continued, but her lean mass stabilized. Now, sometimes it's mostly fat loss, but even then, if you're losing more than about 1% of body weight per week for 3 weeks in a row, you're barreling toward a plateau soon and need to back off. The solution here is the same: up calories by 100 to 200 to preserve muscle and extend this early stage. Now we enter the stage that 70% of people never make it past. And yet the fix is so simple, you'll laugh. After the early stage, you can be eating and moving exactly the same way, and yet the scale will slow down. Naturally, you panic. It feels like your body is broken or you're about to hit a plateau, but you're nowhere near one. You've just entered the mid stage. What's happening is you've lost most of the glycogen and water you could shed, and now only fat loss remains. Think of it like a wet sponge. The surface water came out fast. That was the glycogen and water weight. Now, the water deeper in the sponge, the actual fat, is left, and it comes out slower. This is where the psychological war begins, because the newness of the diet has worn off. The meal plan that felt exciting in week 2 feels like an exhausting chore in week 6. This is exactly when people self-sabotage. They panic at HIIT, they cut more calories, or worse, they switch to a completely different diet. They try to claw back to the early stages rate, but the only way back is if you regain the weight you lost, which defeats the whole purpose. Instead, you need to shift what's normal. Losing 0.7 to 1.5% per week over past 3 weeks is what success looks like in the mid stage. Because the real enemy isn't the scale, it's the sudden cravings that hit when your motivation dips. To curb those cravings, do exactly what my client Kay did. Add a solid palm-sized protein with your meals. Drink 2 to 3 liters of water a day. This combination turns willpower battle into sustainable certainty. Just as Kay's post shows, she dropped to 28% body fat and was amazed that she could do so while living happy and feeling satisfied and energized. This next stage is when your body starts fighting you. The scale is still moving, but we're talking 0.3 to 0.7% loss per week. Mentally, food is suddenly taking up more space. You're craving things you haven't thought about in months. You probably think you're just being weak or you're losing willpower, but you aren't. This is your body actively fighting back because your body has decided this deficit is no longer temporary. So it does something sneaky. It starts quietly restricting your daily movement without you even realizing it. Think of it like a phone switching to low battery mode. It's dimming the screen to keep you alive. You might think you're burning the same calories you were a month ago, but you aren't. The fix has absolutely nothing to do with the restrictions. In fact, it requires doing the exact opposite. Take this client of mine. Her fat was stuck, but she was losing lean mass, and she had been stressed. Instead of slashing her calories again, we coached her to do two things. First, she committed to 8 hours of sleep every night. This is how you prove to your body that it isn't in danger. Second, she added 3,000 to 5,000 extra steps to her usual day. No high-intensity workouts, just gentle walking to override her body's low battery mode. You need to shift what's normal again. Look for a directional win over the past 3 weeks so you can stretch the stage for another month. But you can only stretch it so far. This next stage, recovery, feels like a dead zone. Every morning you step on the scale, hold your breath, and see the exact same number. Every instinct you have is screaming, it's over. I'm about to regain everything I worked for. So you panic. You either go nuclear, cutting another 200 calories and adding a second cardio session, or you collapse. Cheat days with no limits, no control. And here's the crazy part. Both make it worse. You've been in a deficit so long, your body reacts like a car running on low fuel. The engine has shut down the non-essentials just to keep you moving. It's not stuck, it's surviving. And the harder you try to push, the tighter the system locks down to protect you from crashing. The fix is the last thing you'd expect, self-care. Because once your body realizes it isn't starving, the survival grip relaxes. You can do this in two ways. First, eat more, but not a surplus. You need to reboot your metabolism by eating at maintenance. But there are two things that will scare you here. One, you will gain some weight, but you shouldn't gain fat. I know this is scary, which is why you need to continue food tracking and use the body fat tracker, which will let you know when there is actually cause to worry versus it's just water retention. Second, you will probably end up eating more than maintenance the first few days as your body will be ravenous. This is okay. After a few days, hunger usually settles and maintenance becomes easy again. Second, use the relief from a deficit to build a high-quality sleep habit and ways to lower stress. You'll see in the next stage why this becomes your silent advantage. And one more caution here. Do not rush this stage. It could last a week to a month. How do you know when you're ready to move on? You should not feel, I guess I should start again. You should feel excited to start losing fat again. But then just as your body finally starts cooperating again, your brain sets a trap. Round 2 feels identical to round 1. Same meals, same steps, same discipline. But the math has changed. Because you're leaner now, your body has less excess to give up. The big drops from round 1 are smaller now. That rate simply doesn't exist for a leaner body. Your brain hates this. It's anchored to the speed of round 1's early stage. This is where most people break. They either try to force a rate of loss that isn't possible with a leaner body, or they accept the slower rate but then add 5 new healthy habits on top of everything. Then one busy week hits, they can't juggle all of it, and they crash entirely. In round 2, you have to graduate from an enthusiast to a professional. If things are working, do not touch the plan. Don't try to fix something that isn't broken. Take a look at Sarah. She has PCOS, which means her round 2 isn't just a psychological minefield, it's biological too. If she followed her feelings, she would have quit somewhere in those massive spikes. But look at this chart. 1 full year of data. It's messy, it's jagged, and it's frustrating. But the trend is undeniable. She didn't win because she pushed harder. She won because she separated fat loss from weight loss and kept doing the minimum required at each stage. Her 3 lessons are your new North Star. Trust the process, perfection is not necessary for progress, and keep showing up, and success is inevitable. But how do you know exactly what to change in your eating and exercise for your specific body stage, so you don't kill your progress by doing the right things at the wrong time? You can do it in 2 ways. If you want my help shortcutting through all the trial and error to nailing your journey through the 4 stages and their rounds as quickly as possible, then learn more about my weight loss program in the description and comments below. Or if you want to DIY it, then you don't want to ignore this video where I break down the 5 body fat phases and the exact real-life habits required for each phase. Doing the right things at the wrong time will kill your fat loss just as much as doing the wrong things. So you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. And always remember, you can do it.